Every season so far has had a massive cliffhanger, and it hooks you for having to see more. This one, you're still gonna wanna see more, but it also gives you resolve. And I think that's what's kind of a classic design that movies do, give you that kind of feel-good ending, but also some sadness too, and heartache, and all kinds of great real-life things that the show brings.
And a ton of drama yet to come.
Tons of drama, yes, and lots of cool 80s rock and roll.
Competitors and senseis.
Welcome to the world's greatest karate tournament, the Sekai Taikai.
Come on, y'all, let's go!
Welcome to Barcelona, bitch.
Thank you for having me. Hello from Mexico. And guys, I think I need to start by asking you, it's been quite a long ride for you. Do you feel like you've gotten to answer questions maybe that you had back in the day when you first started and when you first portrayed these characters? What kind of questions have been answered for you?
Yeah, I mean, that we're putting to use what was taught in their youth, Johnny and Daniel, and now they're adults. There's a lot of time in between that. There's a big few decades between that, so they've evolved and changed into new characters. And this is them today. And you know, Johnny and Daniel kind of need each other. They're both kind of on their set tracks, and these two worlds collide again, and it explodes and opens us up. And now they're both on this search to find their best selves and to fall forward and to find a way to compromise with each other and it not be about them anymore, but be about the kids. So this is their test now, as they're the senseis. The way Miyagi was the original sensei, now it's Johnny and Daniel, and that works itself out in this part, and then the subsequent 5 after that as well.
Yeah, and it's the questions, you know, they have to question internally themselves what they're dealing with as characters, as well as senseis, as, you know, as men at this point in their lives, and trying to balance it all. So that lends itself to some of the story that is, you know, that is happening now in this season.
But there's no way that we can win. At this point, I'd rather not lose any more brain cells.
We knew this wasn't gonna be easy.
Cobra Kai is one dojo out of 16. It's not us against them anymore.
Tori chose the other side. But we can't keep letting her get in our heads like this.
You have the opportunity of a lifetime to be captain, and you're completely blowing it.
Let's see what you got.
One thing I love about this show is all the lessons they give to these kids, to these guys. Is there a lesson any of your characters have given that has resonated with you throughout the years in any way? Because William, you have a lot of moments like this in this season.
Yeah. Well, you know, I think a metaphoric one is one of my favorites, is on the rooftop when when Daniel and Johnny switch off and they each train their own style, and I take his Miyagi-Dos to the top of a rooftop and tell him to jump across from one to the other side. And it makes absolutely no sense. It's insane. They could possibly kill themselves. And they all say no. And then as he walks away, then suddenly Sam, Daniel's daughter, takes the leap and jumps and makes it. Of course, it's, you know, you don't do that in real life, but you know, but on the show it's great, and she spreads her wings, and it's a metaphor of taking that leap of faith and to trust and to take a chance, and that you can be a badass and you can be strong and you can overcome your obstacles. So that one kind of sticks out. I mean, you know, also Johnny threw kids in a cement truck, which also I don't recommend, and many other very dangerous training sessions. But there's something in each one of those. There's a kind of a metaphor in each one of those, something to take away, and of course it's entertainment. So
yeah, and it's also, you know, the baseline is like, it's like you give someone roots and wings. So the ability to the strong roots, the tree will survive, but then you give them the wings to fly and fall and error and learn on the way. Otherwise, you know, playing it safe all the time, you know, doesn't set you up for as long of an exciting a journey.
And the other part was really fun was when Daniel trains Johnny Miyagi-Do style, and Daniel trains Johnny trains Daniel. And I especially love training him because he had to do all the hard stuff in the shop, climb the chain and do the push-ups on his knuckles, and we're both getting a taste of each other's style. And there's a lot to learn in that, and the characters grow in those moments. And now they're on the same team in the Sekai Taikai, and that's really cool because now you're gonna see that all put into action.
Yeah, you don't know till you walk in someone else's shoes. So that's kind of, you know, feeds into that.
We've heard all this garbage going around about loyalty. So almost all of us have trained somewhere else at some point.
What matters is where our asses are now. We're Miyagi-Do. We're not losing.
I have one last question for you guys. We've seen these characters grow for 6 seasons now. Is there like an ideal ending you would like your characters to have?
I think there is. You know, we always talk about it's so much fun to play Johnny and Daniel when they're butting heads, and it's also really fun to play us when they're getting along. I think there is in the finale of this series. It's yet to come after the first of the year sometime. I think I think we do a good job of potentially landing it where you would want that to be with these two guys. You know, they're fun on each end of the spectrum, but they've gained plenty of respect for each other with the journey they've been on, and I think I think that should be a nice payoff.
Yeah, I think the writers serve the fans with the ending that will feel good, but will be completely unexpected as always.
Right.
It feels good. I think after having done this for this many seasons, there's a sense of closure of this chapter. It's the end of the story. And it's also one that's gonna make you wanna watch it all over again from the beginning, because now you know where it's ultimately going, and there's so many nuggets along the way that point to this moment. But I don't think that, so I'm happy with the ending of this series, but I think that this is a book that closed, and there could be a sequel, some capacity at some point, so who knows, but it feels good, there's closure. Every season so far has had a massive cliffhanger, and it hooks you for having to see more. This one, you're still gonna wanna see more, but it also gives you resolve, and I think that's what's kind of a classic design that movies do, give you that kind of feel-good ending, but also some sadness too, and heartache, and all kinds of great real-life things that the show brings.
And a ton of drama yet to come.
Tons of drama, yes, and lots of cool 80s rock and roll.
I love that. I just hope one day I get to have a beer with Johnny Lawrence. That would be a dream of mine.
Who wouldn't? You'd be stuck with a course banquet though. But
thank you so much for your time. Have a great day.
All right, you too. So wipe the smirks off their ugly faces.